So friends, you've probably seen this video before that I shot with my cell phone. And in case your Elvis knowledge is toothless, it will not be anymore. Graceland was originally Graceland Farms. And Graceland Farms was named after a young lady named Grace Toof. She died December the 28th, 1928. This is her burial place. And they have actually started a thing here where they are planting flowers. The last time I was here, it didn't look this beautiful. You got Stephen, you got Mary, parents. There's also some children here. That's Stephen Toof Little, died as a child. That's a baby Toof. But just in case your Elvis knowledge is toothless, it doesn't have to be anymore. It's Elizabeth Toof. Let's see what's on the other side of Elizabeth. Stephen. So is this the parents? Am I understanding that right?
Sure.
I think maybe this is parents and this is children. But we'll sort that out and see if we can figure it out. But your Elvis knowledge is no longer toothless. Graceland was named after Grace Toof. So friends, we are at historic Elm Hill Cemetery, and we're going to go see somebody that Elvis really loved. So much so that he bought her a house and cars and all kinds of stuff. You've probably already seen the story. And there she is right there, Mary J. Langston. She died in 2000. We love you, Aunt Mary. And you'll recognize the heart shape right here. It is beside a big tree. You see this giant tree. So when you come back here, this is in the very back of the cemetery, dead in the center. I'll try to show you a map. You can see that there's a street right there. But the biggest thing you see in here is a lot of large trees. You can see there's one there. There's one there, a little one there, one here, and then this giant tree. Look at how big this tree is. This one is really larger than that one. This is a big tree, and she's directly beside that tree. Mary Langston, friends. A friend and a long-time employee of Elvis Presley, cook, and a friend as well. People that worked for Elvis were not just workers, they were friends. Mary Langston.
So friends, I know a bunch of you probably already know this and are screaming at the screen right now. Elvis never knew her as Mary Langston. He knew her as Mary Jenkins. She got married sometime in the 80s, and her last name when she passed away, her married name was, of course, Langston. Mary Jenkins, friends.
So friends, the way you find Mary Langston is when you come in the front. That's the bridge that you have to come over. You go right here. Grace Toof is right here. Leno Circle, and then you go and you keep turning to your right. You come down to here, and Mary Langston is directly in the center of W1C, right by that giant oak tree, which rhymes. It may not be an oak. So friends, it is a beautiful morning in Memphis, Tennessee. And I just wanted to stop here. This is something that I bet that you have not often seen. This is the back of Memphis Recording Service, which they now call Sun Studio. And I thought you may want to see that. That is the door to the control room that Elvis would have recorded. You know, Sam Phillips would have been in the control room. They'd have been on the other side. That's the actual back door. Now, clearly that's not the original door, but that's the location of it. Then they have the upstairs. Roy Orbison had an apartment upstairs here at one time. And of course this was Taylor's Cafe here on the side. So something that is very uniquely Memphis that I keep seeing all over Memphis, and it may be in other towns, but I've never noticed it, is that the buildings are not square. Meaning that they're, is it a parallelogram maybe? if you look right here on the corner, you see the bricks are not together. The building is skewed to that angle. You see that? If it was square, the bricks would line up. But if you'll notice, when you come to Memphis, when you're driving around, you'll see that there's tons of buildings that are skewed like this, which is kind of bizarre. I don't understand it exactly, but it's the reality of it. But this part of the building right here is where Marion brought Elvis's phone number and gave it to Sam, and Sam slid it across the table to Scotty Moore and asked him to give Elvis a phone call. That was a cafe. And then that part is where they recorded That's All Right Mama that night. And of course, the rest is history. But this is where it happened at, and this is what it looks like today. Now back then, it had Memphis Recording Service, just like you see here, but it did not have Sun Studios, because it was never Sun. It never had that. That's not what this was. It was a recording service. That was a record label, but Sam had other record labels, names. But this is what it looks like today. And the first song was recorded July the 5th, 1954. Right inside there, That's All Right Mama, on a Monday night. And it is considered to be a national landmark, which it should be, clearly. That is a Scotty Moore ES-295 Gibson, which you can buy a ES-295 Scotty Moore version. So now, you know what it looked like in the alley behind Sun Studio. I bet a lot of you have wondered what it looked like back here. Now this building was not here. This is not period. It's newer than that. But I believe that that building right there was there. There it is, friends. Right here would have been the area that they would have walked out the back of. And look at the electrical connections. Those would have been the original power connections right there to run this side of the building, which would have been their studio. And there's a little birdie right up there. A lot of the stuff is still here. They've modernized it, but the other stuff is still there. Right there. And there's my trusty steed. I'm sorry, y'all, I accidentally zoomed. So there's the power connections that would have been on this side. You can see a lot of that stuff is still there. They modernized it a whole lot. Apartment up there. Now it's not an apartment anymore. You know, they have the Red Hot and Blue booth. Dewey Phillips booth is up there. But you could still see a lot of the original electrical equipment and that kind of stuff. And here is my trusty steed, the Gray Ghost, back here. And this building may not have been original. You know, when they get that age, it's hard to tell.
So I pulled up some aerials, which weren't very good it was 1958 was when the aerial wasn't very clear, so I'm not going to try to use it here. But the answer to the question is the building that you saw behind was not there. That's made out of cinder blocks. It was not there. And you can see that it was used cars and trucks on the left-hand side. And I'm going to show you in a moment, there was used cars on the right-hand side. So it was actually car lots on both sides of the building during the time that Elvis was there. And you see that it says Taylor's Good Food. That was the name of it. Taylor's Good Food. You hear them say Taylor's Cafe and all that. but it clearly says right there, Taylor's Good Food. And where we were at was down that alley right there that you see right beside Taylor's. So now you know what it looked like then, and you know what it looks like now in the alley. So another little note is Taylor's has a basement. I bet a lot of you never knew that. There's a basement under this side right here. And so I tightened up and took you around the back to show you what it looks like. And I wonder if Elvis ever went in the basement. And one last thing is, in the beginning of this video, this is kind of a conglomeration of a lot of things. I touched on the Toof family and Grace Toof. We're starting to dig into the Toof family, and we're finding a few things that are unusual that we have never known. And so I will be doing, and Ashley will be doing, a story in the future about the Toof family and see if we can figure out what all went on.